Okay, let's get started and talk about tissues. So let's give you first a definition of what a tissue is. So let's give a definition. A definition of a tissue is a group of diverse cells with an orderly structure working together for a common function. Okay, so a group of the definition of tissues would be a group of cells or a group of diverse cells that have an orderly structure that work together for a common function. So let's break this down and to look at the different components of this. So let's look at this first part. So we have a group of diverse cells. In order to have a tissue, you have to have more than one cell type. And in the human body, there is approximately 200 different cell types. That seems like quite a few, although some resources that you may reference will show a greater number than that, though we suspect that it's more likely, or I suspect it's more likely, that they are breaking down cells into subcategories. So if you look at white blood cells, there's different types of white blood cells. And if you take white blood cells and those subcategories, you can break those down into subcategories. So for the most part, what we're looking at are the 200 diverse different types of cells. Now, those cells have to work together to form a common function, okay? When we're looking at this, what we're looking at on this one is, let's see, let me break this. So when we're looking at this, we are looking at cells that have to follow some kind of an orderly structure. These next few videos that we're going to cover, we're going to be looking at the different tissue types. And in the human body, there are 4 types of tissues, okay? This first set of videos are going to be on the first one that we're going to be looking at, which is epithelial tissue. And epithelial tissue are tissues that lines cavities or covers things. So it covers surfaces of different things and it lines cavities. We spoke last week in lecture. You have different cavities within your body. You have your thoracic cavity, you have your abdominal cavity, cranial cavity. Well, those cavities are lined with different things. We're looking at lining of blood vessels. So that's a lining of something. We have tissues or cells that line the surface of organs. So basically, epithelial tissue covers organs and lines surfaces, lines things, okay? The second type of tissue that we are going to be talking about is connective tissue. Connective tissue. And connective tissue is a very diverse or a very large group of different types of cells performing different functions. And this is going to be a very interesting one that we're going to be looking at, because connective tissue can range from a solid structure, such as a bone, all the way to a liquid structure, such as blood. So it runs the full gamut of consistency or structure, where it can be liquid, it can be a semi-solid, it can be fatty tissue, it can be adipose tissue or fat. You can have other types of tissue. You can have tendons and ligaments, which are connective tissue. So it ranges everything from a liquid to a solid. And we'll cover that on the next set of videos as well. The third set of tissue in the human body is going to be muscle. And muscle is a contractile tissue where a muscle contracts and it shortens, and there needs to be a mechanism in which that shortened tissue can then elongate back to its normal length so it can then again contract the next time around. And the last one is going to be nervous. And nervous tissue is involved in a communication process where it sends signals throughout the body, and then those signals can cause other issues or can cause other structures to work differently. So that's what we're looking at as a definition of what is a tissue. It's a the definition is a group of diverse cells that have an orderly structure, and we'll get into the specifics on that structure in these next set of videos, that work together for a common function. Thanks.